Are you
Plus, I'm
doing
getting
tops and tails? Are you fully?
Oh yeah. The suit that I bought for your wedding, I've only worn maybe 3 times or something in the
Yeah.
past. Because, like, when
When
else
do
am
you
I
wear
going to
a
get
suit? I know.
exactly? So yeah, I'm wearing that tonight, and it's the
Lovely.
tie, and the matching pocket square, and all that sort of stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, you need to send a photo to the group chat because obviously me and Sammy just like live for when
Obviously,
you give
yeah.
us updates on your life. Yeah.
Yep. Clean underwear and everything, going all out.
Good morning, Vietnam!
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I feel the need for speed.
Roads? When we're going, we don't need roads. Snakes. What happened with snakes?
I'm Spartacus!
I'm Batman. I am the Father.
So we'll do what we've been watching, then we'll have a chat about the film.
Yeah.
Argyle, that I watched again this morning.
I just can't stop watching that music video.
Oh,
Like I do actually find the song quite catchy, which helps, but I genuinely cannot stop watching that because I think it is. See, when it goes into this the Brady Bunch thing where it's like there's the 9 of them in the squares, it looks like AI Henry Cavill.
I know. It's
so
just funny.
It's hilarious. Everybody else is giving it their all, and then he looks like he doesn't know what he's supposed to be doing, and he's just having a really bad time.
Yep.
It is a catchy song though, which helps. But
yeah.
I even showed it to Chris, and he was like, "Does he know he's meant to be there and like dancing and stuff?" So bad, so bad.
So, Mary, what have you been watching?
Well, thanks to your recommendation, I have finished The Jinx, which both seasons of that, and I actually cannot remember how many times I had to pick my jaw up off the floor. It is one of the most bizarre true crime documentaries I have ever seen. And do you know that way when you said to me, you were like, "Oh, you think it's got, this sort of level of crazy," and then something else happens. It was like every episode, another chaos grenade was tossed. I couldn't. And the thing is, I was sort of, the more it went on, I was like, "Oh, he's a wee old man and he seems really sick." And I was like, no, remember like 5 episodes ago when he was being a little shit and a horrible, horrible person? It was very, very well done. And I thought it was one that, as you've said as well, you can watch a million true crime documentaries and they'll pretty much follow the same kind of format and you know where it's headed. This one where I felt like I genuinely didn't know where it was headed. So it was really, really good recommendation. So thank you for that. I thought that was
Brilliant.
Just insane. I also watched Night Watch and Day Watch back to back. There's a significant drop in quality between the films. I remember watching Night Watch at uni and really, really liking it and thinking it was quite unique, very of its time. Now, watching it again, some of the special effects have obviously aged, but I thought it was still a good story and still really interesting, whereas Day Watch, I feel, is a little bit all over the place and I don't think it knows what it wants to do story-wise. And I know they were sort of setting it up to be part of a trilogy, so I feel like this was almost like the filler film before the conclusion that never actually happened came along. So it was a wee bit disappointing, but still sort of worth revisiting. And you guys have seen them both, haven't you? I think. Both.
He's seen them both. I've seen Night Watch. I watched it maybe about a month and a half ago, and I've got Day Watch here to watch, but I've just not got around to it yet.
Yeah,
but, based on your,
I wouldn't rush it to the top of your list. It just the drop in quality is quite significant. I've also been watching quite a few wee Scandi things for Nordic watch lists. So I watched The Day Iceland Stood Still, which is about mid-70s in Iceland. Basically, all women went on strike because they were really just sick of all of the shit. Basically, they were sick of less pay, not getting good access to jobs, expecting to be homemakers, all that sort of thing. So there was this absolutely fantastic documentary where all these women who'd participated in the strike were sort of talking heads and talking about, basically they didn't know if anyone was even going to turn out and join them that day. And then it literally was the entire female population of Iceland just walked out. And then you have these fantastic archival clips where it's like men holding babies for the first time in their life and having to take them to the office and not knowing what to do with them. And there was a guy they interviewed that said his dad burnt hot dogs for dinner and planked them down in front of cartoons because he just had never had to look after his own children before. So it was a really, really well done documentary. And I think because you always think of Scandi countries as being as these sort of like beacons of equality, it was quite interesting to see how recent like this was. So it was really good. Also watched What Remains. Don't watch that if you're not in a good place. It was with Gustav and Stellan Skarsgård and Andrea Riseborough, actually. It was a sort of psychological crime drama based on a true story, extremely heavy, extremely dark, and just, I had to watch some cartoons afterwards to cheer myself up. It was very grim.
Was that a film, What Remains?
It was, so I think it will be getting released. I think they said it's coming to the Icon channel at the start of June. So it's English language, which I wasn't expecting either, because there's quite a lot of Swedish and Finnish actors in the cast, but then there's Andrea Riseborough as well, so it's all in English.
Is it in a beautiful house?
No, it's in a psychiatric institution.
Oh no, I'm thinking of something else.
It's definitely it's a very heavy watch. So if you're in a dark place, probably not one to pick up on. I also watched Birthday Girl, which is a sort of crime drama set on a cruise ship. Excellent, really well done, very tight, very sort of based on a true story about how cruise ships deal with crimes that are committed and who's in charge and who's allowed to tell you what and who's sort of structurally like how these things are dealt with. So I thought that was really good, and obviously the sort of one location element kind of adds a sufficient amount of attention to that as well, which is quite good. And then finally I watched Four Little Adults, which stars Alma Poisty and Errol Milanoff. So I missed it at the film festival, which I was gutted about, but it's coming out in UK cinemas, and it's basically about a middle-aged couple. She's a politician, he's a vicar, and they decide to embark on some polyamory. But it's not a romantic comedy, and it's not like a heavy drama either. It's kind of a mix of the two as they sort of navigate how they do this. And at first it's like he thinks he's, getting his cake and eating it, and then it all kind of unravels from there. Just a nice sort of like dialogue driven film where you're really sort of focused on character development and stuff like that. So that was really, really good. But apart from that, that's pretty much been it. I've not really watched much TV apart from The Jinx. I've been honestly, because that's been episodic, as in weekly, I've been waiting every single week just to get to the conclusion of that, just because it's just been so good. But I did also read a really good book as well. So I read Strange Sally Diamond by Liz Nugent. The ending absolutely threw me for a loop. I couldn't believe how this ended. I thought I had it all worked out. It's kind of set in small town Ireland. It's kind of a crime drama sort of thing, but not quite. And I thought I had it all worked out. And in the last few pages, I was just like, what the fuck? So I quite like a book like that. That sort of, you think you've sort of done your Poirot and you've got it all sorted and you're going to gather everyone in the room and tell them how it's going to go. And it just completely knocked me for six. It was really, really well done. It was good.
Nice. Well, that sounds really good. Excellent. Well, yeah, The Jinx is definitely worth it. That's probably one of the highlights.
Have you finished it?
I have, yes. It is very, very good.
Oh,
Obviously,
so
won't
good.
spoil it.
No spoilers,
who's listening, but yeah, it's excellent stuff. I've been watching a whole heap of stuff as usual. I've been watching The Saint, which is the Simon Templar TV show from the 1960s. Yes, yeah, the black and white episodes.
Where's that on?
It's on Talking Pictures TV. You can watch it live.
I love watching that when I was wee.
I know. I was the same. I used to watch things like that when there was some sort of arrangement we had when we were in primary school. Because we stayed in a wee village, which was quite close to where the school was, but we get the same bus as the secondary school pupils. So the primary school finished early, and any kids that had to wait for the bus get shoved into a room and put the TV on, and it was like ITV in the afternoon. It was like The Saint and The Persuaders and all these sort of things. So it's really gone back and sort of a real sort of nostalgia drive.
So nice, yeah.
And it's obviously Roger Moore, like 1963, 1964. And there's just so many episodes of it. It's like 20 episodes at a pop for each season. And there's so many people that are recognizable from the 1960s and 70s and all that. It's just a sort of roll call of sort of who's who, which is just amazing. It's great. And it's like wee sort of 45-minute stories and everything. So yeah, wonderful stuff. Really nice. As I say, Talking Pictures TV, and you can watch it. They've got an app that you can watch on online, and it holds it. It's like just catch up. It holds it for a week and all that. So there's all sorts of stuff on there as well, apart from that, which is good. Started watching Constellation, which is a Noomi Rapace drama.
Oh yes,
one on Apple TV, which is rather excellent so far. I'm only just 2 episodes into it. She is an astronaut returning to Earth, and things are not quite the way that they were when she left. Now, it's still very early in the drama, so I'm not quite kind of sure what's going on, the same way that the characters don't really know what's going on, because it's all like mixed timelines and all sorts of things like that. But it's very good. It's very good drama indeed. Still working my way through The Haunting of Hill House. I'm trying not to binge that, because I'm really enjoying it and I want to sort of spread it out. I'm going to watch all of the sort of Mike Flanagan stuff after watching the Fall of the House Usher. I'm going to watch them all, but I'm just going to take my time with them, because if you watch them too quickly, then it's over, and I'm really enjoying them, so sort of just spread them out a wee bit. I've got another recommendation for true crime drama, one called The Imposter, The Man Who Came Back from the Dead. It's on Channel 4, and it'll be on their catch-up service as well.
Is this the thing about the guy who claims he's Scottish?
Yes, Arthur Knight.
Oh, I need to. So I saw the trailer for it. Didn't realize when it was on. I didn't realize this was actually on now. I am desperate to watch that, because that court case has been one of the actual highlights of last year. It was so insane.
So it goes in without really. It's 4 parts, so it's quite quick. So that's 4 hours, and it goes into his whole history, not just the court case. It goes into everything that happened before and why he got there in the first place, and all of the legal shenanigans that have been going on, not just there, but back in the States before and after as well. It's really, really good. It's cracking, and you'll be shouting at the TV as well. You'll be going,
I love it.
What that actual
love it.
So that is really good. It's still, I'll be on. I don't know if it's called.
I hope so. As I say,
I
saw on I saw an advert for it and thought must watch that, and then didn't hear another thing about it, so I didn't realize it was actually on TV. But because that court case, obviously, every time that was on the news, I was like, drop everything. I need to find out what's happening. Yeah, I really wanted to see it, so I'll definitely go and check. Is it All 4 or whatever it's called these days?
Whatever it's called this week. Yeah, I watched the first episode of Rebus, the new version of the Ian Rankin crime drama. It is shite. It is really, really, really bad. The acting and the dialogue in it are atrocious. It's awful.
So disappointing.
It's really well. I watched the first episode of it and thought, this is probably the worst TV program I've watched this year. And then I went online to see what other people were thinking. There was all these people saying, "Oh, it's fantastic! Oh, it's really good! Really gritty and everything." And I was thinking, no, it's really obvious. It's really poorly written. It's based loosely around sort of a younger John.
Yeah, because I was going to say, because it's a kind of, because who was it played Rebus before? John
Hannah's played him, yes, and there was
and Ken Stott.
Yes, yeah,
and they're both kind of old. And when I saw the publicity for this, I was like, oh, they must be not a reboot, but you know what I mean? It was obvious the actor was obviously quite a bit younger than maybe what they were when they were playing the role.
Yeah, but there was his brother's in it as well, Rebus's brother, and his brother's a courier driver, and he mentions having to sort out his packages 3 times just to emphasise the fact that that's going to be something that's going to come up later on in the episode, and you're going, oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but don't take my word for it. Watch the first episode yourself and see what you think. I would be,
and then you'll just get a message saying, "John, this is shite."
I would be interested to see what your opinion of it is, because my opinion and Leslie's opinion as well was that was dreadful. And usually, I've got a reasonably high tolerance for watching absolute.
Well, this is the thing.
But Leslie doesn't. She just goes, "No, that was dreadful," and I just totally agreed with her. I just thought, no, I'm not enjoying this at all. It's just nonsense.
I always wonder how that works, because I really will sit down and watch any old shit. I don't care how depressing it is, or whereas like if you obviously like with Leslie, who obviously has higher standards. Does she not just like want to walk out the room after 15 minutes?
It's fun.
Right, well, I'll watch it and I'll see how bad it is, and I'll confirm or deny your opinions.
Nice. Okay. Film-wise, I watched a film called Chief of Station, which is an Aaron Eckhart drama. I think it's come out on VOD about 3-4 weeks ago. It's decent. He's a sort of like the name of it, Chief of Station for the CIA, and I think it's Berlin. Not sure. And it's a reasonably good drama. It's not anything brilliant, but it was okay. It was quite interesting. I also watched Accident Man, Hitman's Holiday, which is the follow-up to Accident Man from about 3 years ago. It's a Scott Adkins film.
Never heard of this.
Yeah, it's a British-made sort of action film. And he's
Right.
he's this sort of hard man, but quite gentle at the same time, and he assassinates people and makes them look like accidents, these sort of freak accidents that you just can't explain. Because of the events of the first film, he's on Malta sort of hiding out, and he's doing all these jobs. He's looking after the son of a gangster who lots of people are trying to kill and things like that. And it's just fairly decent. It's quite funny and everything. Again, not anything really to be taken terribly seriously. I watched A Man Called Otto, which is the remake of, I think it's
English language remake, A Man Called Ove. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, the Tom Hanks one, which was a pretty good film, actually. It's pretty decent. He does Grumpy Old Man very well. So yeah, it was quite a nice film, one that you can just sit down and enjoy with anybody because it's a nice sort of social message to it and all that. It was pretty good. Rewatched Imitation Game as well. That was on the telly last week, which was pretty decent. I think that's still on iPlayer. Benedict Cumberbatch is just fantastic in that film, and Keira Knightley is very good in it as well. But again, it's one of these casts that there's quite a lot of people in it that you're kind of going, yeah, quality stuff is really, really good. I also watched Roadhouse. I think I obviously said to you guys about that before. The remake of that with Jake Gyllenhaal, which was really good. I really enjoyed it. Conor McGregor's fucking awful in it, but it's pretty good. He's entertaining in it, but he's maybe not the best actor that you'll see today.
So he's not going to have the Dave Bautista career trajectory, is that what you're saying?
Maybe if he starts taking a few lessons and stuff, because obviously Dave Bautista had a certain amount of natural talent anyway, and doing the wrestling stuff, there is a certain amount of acting involved in that. So, but I think, if these guys can get better as long as they sort of apply themselves to the craft in the same way that applied themselves to their sports careers.
Yeah.
If they go in with that sort of mentality, they can actually become pretty good. But he wasn't particularly good. The action scenes in it were very good because obviously he's a very physical guy now. But yeah, it was a pretty decent movie. There's going to be a second one now as well.
We see, like, doing that with Conor McGregor, would you not be quite scared? Because obviously his job in real life is to follow through on a kick or a punch or whatever. So if you're doing a stunt scene with him, you'd be really hoping that he'd remember to stop when he was supposed to.
Yeah. Well, you've got to remember he's going to be getting hit as well, so you'll see the sort of techniques and everything that they're going to be using. And obviously they work with stunt coordinators and all that as well. So yeah, but yes, it's more sort of real life. Obviously with the wrestling, there's a certain amount of showmanship with that.
Yeah, of course.
And people don't get intentionally seriously hurt, but with the UFC stuff, they're just battering fuck at each other. Let's face it. It's pretty full on. What else? I watched Godzilla -1, the Japanese film from last year.
Is that coming to Netflix? Because Chris has been obviously bursting at the seams to see this, and is that where you saw it?
I think it probably will. No, I saw it on video on demand because you can buy it at the moment. I think it will come to Netflix because they seem to have a lot of the Godzilla stuff. They've got like Godzilla anime stuff and some of the previous films they've got in there. Obviously, Apple have the Monarch Legacy of Monsters stuff, which includes Godzilla, but that's slightly different. But yes, it probably will come to Netflix, I would imagine. Decent film, really, really good. It kind of picks up right after the end of the Second World War in Japan, and it
Right.
sort of reimagines how Godzilla comes to be and all that. So it's a very, very good story, and the all the CG and everything is really good in it as well. Godzilla looks cracking as compared with some of the previous incarnations.
yeah.
Where it's like a guy in a suit, you know. So,
Yeah.
so I was listening to a podcast called it's not the Filmcast. I can't remember. This guy Adam Kempener that hosts a podcast, and they were doing a review of Ex Machina, which is 10 years old this year. Which is, I know,
Jeez.
yeah. So that was on Prime last week. I think it's maybe just dropped off, but I sat and watched that on Friday night, and it's really good. I forgot how good that film is. I hadn't seen it since maybe like 2015 when it actually came out of the cinema, and it really holds up because obviously it's all about AI and the Turing test and, you know, what it means to be human and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's really, really good. And obviously it's an Alex Garland film, so there's a lot of sort of weighty themes in there as well. So yes, it all sort of works really, really nicely. And the last film I saw was the Barbie film. I watched that last night because Leslie had not seen it, and somebody from work had recommended it to her. So yeah, she just missed it at the time when it was out in the cinema. So we watched it last night, and it still holds up. It's still pretty good. There's a lot of beach in it. So yeah, it's all good fun.
Honestly, I think that is one of Ryan Gosling's best performances. Like, it is just so funny. Like, I love that. See the scene where he walks into the hospital and he's like, I'm ready to be a doctor now and stuff like that, because he's read about patriarchy. It's so funny. It's so well done. Don't get me wrong, obviously some of it's a bit on the nose, but I think that was it was such a nice experience actually going to cinema. Everybody was kind of sobbing, you know, at some parts and stuff like that as well. And I thought it was just a really, really well done piece of cinema. I had absolutely no expectations for that whatsoever, and it was so bloody good.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of sort of wee one-liners in it. Just what was it? The head of Mattel, it's played by Will Ferrell, and he says, I didn't get into this business to make money. I get into this business to like play with small girls in the least creepy way possible.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, it's brilliant. So yes, I haven't really been reading very much at all because I've been doing a lot of sort of revising and reading stuff from my work, and I just can't face that. I want to switch off from it afterwards. So it's really just been sort of like telly and movies and shit like that. So one thing I did do was I went to see the 39 Steps, the production of it at the Theatre Royal.
How was it?
It was excellent. Yeah, it was a cast of 4 that did the entire production. I think that they said it was 139 characters or something like that. There was loads and loads of characters. So they all do the main character, the Robert Haney character, was the same guy, and the other 3 played sort of multiple roles all the way through.
Wow.
And it was really well done. And obviously there's like elements of it that are set in the Highlands of Scotland and all that, so there's some really dodgy Scottish accents, intentionally dodgy Scottish accents, and they would mix up who played the male roles and the female roles and all that. So it was really, really well done. It's really short. It was like 2 hours or something, but it was very, very clever, and it was a good laugh. I really, really enjoyed it. I'm really glad I went along to see it. Apparently, it's been going on for like a good couple of years now.
I have seen it to them before.
And it's well worth the watch. It really is. It was like a lot of fun. But I've been to obviously go to the Theatre Royal a few times to see things, and it's amazing the different crowds that you get, because the crowds that go along for the opera, you get sort of a lot of older people at it, and you know, like guys wearing like not like top hat and tails or anything, but they're wearing like shirts and ties and things like that. And when you go to the bar when it's the opera, they give you the drink in a glass. But see, when you go to the bar, when you're going to see 39 Steps, it's all plastic glasses, and it's a completely different crowd as well. It's just, it's noticeable, the difference in them, which, I mean, it's not a snobby thing, but it's just a sort of, when you're sitting about watching and you're going, yeah, this is not the same type of crowd that's come along to see La Traviata. This is a different, it's still a crowd, I suppose, but yeah, the plastic glasses, I thought, what, do they not trust these people to have a glass?
Are they going to start glassing people?
I know,
the 39 Steps is still quite highbrow. Like, I don't think that's the low end of the scale. But I do remember when I went, because obviously we actually were there at Carmen at the same night, which I didn't realise.
Yes.
I was conscious of like how dressed do you have to be for this? And then, yes, I was surprised because I ordered, it was like a glass of red or something like that. And it actually came in an actual glass. And I was quite, because usually I just thought it was a Glasgow thing. Every gig, show, play, whatever it was that you went to, you just get handed a plastic tumbler because it's Glasgow. But yeah, you're right. You do actually get a proper glass because they were selling like carafes of wine at the opera as well. And I was like, okay, this is very, very civilized. I've never had this before. But the 39 Steps is not it's not like the chavvy end of theatre that you would be like,
no, not at all.
These people are definitely going to break a bottle and start stabbing each other at the break.
I know, it was kind of bizarre, but it's just, you notice these wee things about it. Yeah, but even, I mean, like you were saying, the experience at Carmen where it's like carafes of wine, it's nothing compared to some of these bigger, more sort of dedicated opera houses. You can go along and have dinners and all sorts of things. Because when I was in Berlin last April, we went to an opera there, and it was basically people were having full meals and all sorts of stuff actually in the venue beforehand and all that, and there was all sorts of like, it's a big deal, and people were really dressed up. That felt quite underdressed at it. It was all very sort of glamorous. The people were going to that, but it's degrees. It just depends on where you're actually going. If you're going to go to the Met, for instance, in New York, then I think it's that sort of very high level, costs a lot of money to do and all that. So, fun. Yeah.
I will say that my friend that I was with yesterday, so she's turning 40 at the end of this year, and she's got a sort of like bucket list of things that she wants to do. One of the things is she's never been to the GFT.
Wow.
So I've been entrusted with her first GFT experience, which feels like a lot of pressure. You want to have a good film, make sure you get good seats, all that sort of thing. So I now have that burden of responsibility on my shoulders because I want to make sure it's like a good GFT experience because I can't believe she's never been.
Yeah. You'll need to, like you say, need to be very careful about the choice of film and everything as well. So, yes. It should surprise me that people haven't been, but it doesn't really, because it seems to be the same sort of crowd that goes to the GFT sort of time and time again. It's one of these places, isn't it, that there's regulars at it for most things. Yeah. Oh, that's good. What else is in her bucket list? Anything interesting that she would divulge?
So it's things like she's never been to the Mitchell Library. So it's just there's like kind of small things like this. And then there's things like she wants to go on a hot air balloon or do like proper karting, like as in like maybe like at Knock Hill or something like that. She's never had a tattoo. So I was like, well, I can also assist you. I can also assist you with that. I know a place or two. So yeah, it's like an interesting mix of sort of smaller things like, never been to this building or whatever, and then bigger things like, bungee jumping and all that sort of, which I definitely will not be assisting with, just to be clear. I have no ambitions to be Tom Cruise anytime soon.
Yeah, I've never really fancied anything like myself, and luckily nobody's really been pushing me to do anything like that.
It's not like Leslie's like, come on, John, next week we're going to throw ourselves off a building.
I've surrounded myself with people of like mind, shall we say, or shite bags, depending on how you look at it. But I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah, I think, Ash, obviously, she used to tour the world in a previous life, so I think her adrenaline levels are probably significantly more higher than mine, whereas I'm quite happy with, I can take you to the cinema. We can do that.
Excellent. Oh, that'll be really good. That'll be excellent. And you can take a drink into the GFT, can't you?
Yeah, said that to her. I was
Yeah.
like, they're doing Prosecco and popcorn for £9, which she's absolutely buzzing about. So
Brilliant. Excellent.